Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer from English with Jennifer. Can you tell the difference between what's real and what isn't? Let's see. Real or not real? Not real. Unicorns are imaginary creatures. Real or not real? Real. There are things in nature that are incredible. They can be incredibly beautiful, and they're definitely real. Real or not real? Not real. First of all, dragons are mythical creatures. Second, putting on a costume is a choice to pretend. People pretend to be something they're not. If dragons really existed, they would be bigger and more beautiful than that. If those people had better costumes, they could gather a crowd. Here, I'm imagining a situation to be different, a present situation. These present situations are unreal. Consider these next two sentences. Which one is real and which one is unreal? If you missed my other lesson on Unreal Conditionals, you can watch it later. If I hadn't made so many of my children's costumes, Halloween wouldn't have been as fun for us. Sentence A is about the past, and it's real. If this past condition is true about you, then there's a result, a choice that exists in the present or future. You can watch my other lesson later. Sentence B is also about the past, but an unreal past. It's counterfactual. The truth? I made many of my children's costumes, but imagine if I hadn't made all those costumes. In this lesson, we'll review Unreal Conditionals about the past. I know the verb forms can be a little tricky, so we'll practice together, okay? Don't forget you can get more support as a member of my YouTube channel. Click Join to learn more. Remember that if conditionals have two clauses. The if clause names the condition. The main clause is the result. If clause plus result. When we talk about unreal situations in the past, what verb form follows if? Remember my example? If I hadn't made all those costumes, Halloween wouldn't have been as fun for us. We shift from the simple past to the past perfect. That's how we shift from real to unreal, or counterfactual. If I hadn't become an English teacher, I wouldn't have met so many people from around the world. If I'd never moved to Boston, I might not have discovered how beautiful New England is. I would have been unhappy if I had stayed in one city all my life. Notice how the if clause can come first or second. Some people like to use the name the third conditional. I think it's more helpful to focus on the meaning and purpose of this structure. We're forming unreal conditionals about the past. These are unreal situations. Both the condition and the result are counterfactual. Now, you won't always hear American English speakers shift back to the past perfect, especially in informal speech. If I knew your plans, I would have warned you. We can debate whether this use of the simple past is acceptable or not. I generally recommend standard grammar, so I suggest shifting to the past perfect for these unreal past situations. However, you have to be ready to hear variations.
Still, if I Knew then what I know now. I do a lot of things differently.
For these unreal conditions about the past, we can also shift the past progressive to the past perfect progressive. If I had been thinking more clearly, I would have guessed the correct answer. Okay, so we agree. In the if clause of an unreal condition about the past, we shift to the past perfect, and sometimes the past perfect progressive if we're talking about an action in progress. So what verb forms do we use in the main clause, the result? Look at my examples. I would have been unhappy if I had stayed in one city all my life. If I had never moved to Boston, I might not have discovered how beautiful New England is. If I had saved more money, I could have taken a longer vacation. Most often we use would have plus the past participle in the result clause. But we can also use could have or might have plus the past participle. Use would for the most probable result. Use might for a weaker possibility. Could helps us express an ability or the possibility of doing something. And again, we're focusing on past situations that are unreal. I want you to note how the helping verb have sounds in fast speech. It sounds like the preposition of. Would have, would have. I would have been. Might have, might have. I might have been. Could have, could have. I could have been.
I still wonder what my life would have been like if I had stayed.
Let's practice. Fix the mistakes. Each statement is about the past. Answers. 1. If Maggie hadn't been working so hard, she would have spent more time with her father last year. 2. If Mr. Carlson had retired earlier, he could have visited his grandchildren more often. 3. If Maggie had known that her father was lonely last winter, she might have flown back to visit him. Next task, create a counterfactual statement with if. Answers. 1. If Joe had had more experience, he wouldn't have felt so nervous. 2. If the sun hadn't been so bright, they wouldn't have put on sunglasses. 3. If they hadn't dressed appropriately, they would have suffered from the cold wind. Now we get a little tricky. Mixed conditionals use two different time frames. We can talk about an unreal past having an imaginary result in the present. Or we can talk about an imaginary present condition connected to an unreal past. If I had never become an online teacher, I wouldn't be making this lesson right now. If I were more ambitious and less busy, I would have started learning Spanish by now.
If I had a son, and he had turned out like you, I would be very proud of him.
Let's put what you've learned into practice. Create Unreal Conditionals with if. Answers. 1. If I were a millionaire, I would have bought my parents a new house a long time ago. 2. If I had paid more attention in math class, I could help my nephew with his math homework more often. 3. If I were living, or if I lived on a beach, I might find it easier to relax, or I would find it easier to relax. How did you do on the tasks? Do you feel more confident about Unreal Conditionals? I hope so. If you need more practice, check out my recommendations in the video description. That's all for now. Please like and share the video if you found the lesson useful. As always, thanks for watching and happy studies.
I'd like to say a special thank you to a kind-hearted patron. Mushinjan pledged $2 a month. Thank you. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Why not join me on Patreon? And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.